Welcome back. We now look into the post-processing of the DEM simulation output. For that, we would like to use a very often used tool that's called PowerView. We will first load the data into PowerView, and these are the so-called dump files. So these are snapshots provided by the lights simulator. In addition, we will load the walls, the STL walls, in the PowerView graphical user interface. In order to save our post-processing, we would then save the PVSM files from PowerView. We will then start adjusting the colors, clipping the data that we see essentially into the hopper, and also annotate the time. Finally, we would also like to do a basic data analysis, and here we will first select a certain amount of data and then plot the selected data over time. You will see this is relatively simple post-processing that we will do here in PowerView. A more sophisticated post-processing can be done in Lights, but is not in the focus of this unit. So let us now start with loading the data into PowerView. For that, we need to first open PowerView. This is PowerView, a relatively old version. Please note that we have installed here the Lights reader that is available in the open GitHub repo. We now open the data. We navigate to our folder where we have the dump files. If those files have the Lights file extension, the PowerView will already know that it's a Lights dump file and will automatically choose the right reader. We click here on the whole group, click OK, and now we have already the data loaded. Here you can now visualize the data. Let's choose here point Gaussian. Let us scale the point Gaussian with the radius. The scaling factor should be 1. We color the particles according to their velocities. Beautiful. We have now already all the time steps loaded. This is the last time step. You see the data is here loaded. We can do the same now with the STL files. The STL files in our case directory is located in meshes. Here we just pick the hopper STL. You see now the hopper is now shown, the hopper wall. We now do a clip to cut away half of it, that it looks like this. Maybe we'll do here inside out. Beautiful show plane, we don't need that. That's already a nice thing. Then we can also display the access grid. Of course, we can also format that and save these details for later. Great. We next click on our hopper data here, the Lights dump files, and we would like to apply a temporal shift scale here. This is a filter. We can search for it, temporal shift scale. We click then here this button. And the nice thing about this filter is that we can now specify the time interval between the dump files. This allows us to then annotate the real time and not the time step information. Again, here we can use point Gaussian to show this shifted data now. It's just time shifted. Again, we choose the radius. And now we are in the, you see already now the correct time in seconds. This 0.02 is the real-time interval between the dump files. So this is what you have to calculate out of your time step information and the dump frequency. Let us now annotate the time, and the time filter, we can choose this one. And you see here at the top we have it already indicated. You can add the units, seconds. We can format here a little bit that it looks a little bit nicer. But that's essentially it. PowerView is very kind to us for doing that. Beautiful. We should then also think about saving this post-processing information. So here we choose Save State. We pick the right folder. I will just call it now Post Show. This is important because this PVSM PowerView state file contains all the settings that we have done here when we are looking at the data. The next step is then to select the data we want to plot over time. For that, we click on Edit, Find Data. What we want to find is point data. All of our particles define a point grid for PowerView, so we need to pick your points. We select the temporal shift scale data, that we have then the information of the real time, and then we have multiple choices on what to select. The best and easiest way, if we want to select everything, is to pick it based on the ID of the particles, and we simply say we want to pick all the data that has an ID larger than -1. And if we now click here on Run Selection Query, PowerView will for us select all the points. In our world, these are particles that have an ID larger than -1. So all the particles are here selected. You see it already here, the selection indicated with pink points. What we can then do is to just click on this button. This is an automated connection to this plot selection over time filter. If you do that, PowerView will automatically start preparing this plotting information, which you then see in a separate new window in PowerView. So now it's important, if you have multiple windows, that depending on what you click, which window you click, you see here what is actually shown in that window, right? So that's very important now. If you click on the right window, you can now work on this plot selection over time in the pipeline browser. So what you see here is all the variables that you can show. So you see here, for example, the velocity magnitude, point statistics. We can change this legend if we want. If we click here, it will be deactivated. It will not be shown here. So let us now focus on a plot where we only show this velocity magnitude, so the total magnitude of all the particle velocities. So we unselect all the other quantities, and now we just have this velocity magnitude. What we may want to do next is for this velocity magnitude to put it on the right hand side axis, so we can pick here bottom right. And what I have also done here is I have activated here at the very bottom for the right axis label that this is a log scale. Let me check here again. Log scale, right axis range is here log scale. We can also put here a custom range if we want, maybe from 1e-3 to 5. And finally, we maybe want to format the line here for the median and the mean, or the median and the average. Sorry, this is the median line here, and this is the average line. We may want to have it dashed, for example. So now you see you can assemble a nice plot here. And again, don't forget, if you pick here, the properties that you look at are different if you have selected this window here. Finally, an important hint, you can also hide this green line here. This is that so-called time marker by checking this box. Finally, you can prepare plots like this and save it as a screenshot from PowerView. That's it already for this part of post-processing. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.